Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about traffic, how to write and how to submit your press releases so that you can start driving traffic to your Clickbank blog or your blogger.com blog that is using Clickbank affiliate links. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. One thing to note is that press releases are a little bit different than writing an article or writing a convincing sales letter. Press releases just usually tell things as it is. So yes, while it is going to be a different format as different than an article or sales letter, and that does mean you need to learn a little bit, but it's not as hard as you might think it is. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to Google. You want to learn how to write a press release. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to write a press release, and let's go ahead and go to Google. What I did was I did a search on Google for how to write a press release. Now, as you can see here, we've got many free resources that show you how to just write a press release. Now, what I would suggest is you could either write it or you can hire somebody to write. But to be honest, I've hired some people who have written for many big companies. However, it costs money. It usually costs anywhere from $75 to, we're talking about $120, somewhere around that. But to be honest, after I had that person write that first press release, I began to write my own press releases because if you get a hang of the style, it's actually very easy to write. And just like article writing and sales copywriting, what you do is you mimic other sales copywriters. You go to their sites, you learn how they write, similar to this. So the first link above you see here is by publicityinsider.com. You can go here or you can go anywhere below. As you can see, there's a lot of free resources that tell you, even here, 10 essential tips for writing press releases. And some even tell you how you can distribute your press releases. So let's go ahead and go to that first site, which was up here. So as we can see here, it's a Bill Stoller's publicityinsider.com. It gives you access to a free sample copy of a press release. And as you can see here, it tells you about what a press release is. It's a story written in third person that seeks to demonstrate an editor or reporter in a newsworthy way. So when you're talking about press releases, they're not really a sales pitch. They're more or less something that's written in third person, and we'll actually show you in a minute some examples of press releases, but they're written in third person. So if your name is Mr. Brown, you're going to write it as Mr. Brown says blah, blah, blah. So it might be a little weird writing it in third person, but you'll get the hang of it. So with that said, we'll move down a little bit here. A good thing to note here is that press releases, they're not just good for the news media and the offline world. They're really good for reaching people on the online marketing world too. And the big misconception is that it's only for the offline world. Now, for the online world, not only do you get exposure to many news sites, but you'll get lots and lots of backlinks. This is a great way to produce lots of backlinks from high page rank sites, which are usually news sites. So as you can see here, this is an example of a press release. You have your company logo, then you have your contact information, then you have your main title of your press release, which I would highly recommend that you do some research in what keywords you want to rank high upon. Because what Google is going to do and Yahoo is going to do is it's going to read this title and it's going to rank you upon that title. In fact, when I did my first press release and I released it, to prweb.com, and we're actually going to show you a bunch of free sites, but when I submitted to the paid site of prweb.com, what happened was within 1 hour I was in Yahoo News and Google News, and within a few hours I was ranked top 20 on some high keywords, and within a few days I was on top 10 of certain keyword, and eventually I became top number 1 on that keyword. So this is a great way to produce traffic from search engines using press releases. With that said, just keep in mind that you need to name your keyword or your title a certain keyword that you want to rank on. And then you have the body of the press release. And then you have your contact information. Now, since this is just a sample and you don't really see a lot of stuff in it, what I want to do is I want to go to prweb.com just so that I can show you many thousands of press releases. So as you can see here, you have Yahoo News, Ask, Google News, eMediaWire. These are just sites that you're going to be inserted into quickly if you land on the front page of prweb.com. Now, while paid press release submission sites have its advantages, so do free press release sites do too, such as 1-800-PressRelease.com. Sites like that, even though it's free, or some of them may cost $5 here, $3 there, but some of those sites I found did better or even equivalent to many sites that I was indexed into. So what companies do is they usually send out press releases whenever they have some sort of event or product coming out, or some high-tech thing, or their company's being sold, or they're offering something, free applications. All this type of stuff really does drive a lot of traffic. In fact, let's go ahead and click on one of these. So here I've chosen the press release from avsforfree.com. It's a new freeware portal, goes live. So as we can see here, they're announcing their new freeware portal. And I know the site is getting a lot of traffic just because I've landed on this page once before. So let's look at what the press release is all about. In general, first thing that they do is they enter the title, as you can see here. Then in italicized, they talk about AVS, the company, and basically what it does. So you can see here, Online Media Technologies launches a new online portal which features the collection of freeware for home video and management. So it just talks about what it's about. So when you're writing this, you have your title, then you have your intro paragraph, which will talk about you, what's your company about, what are you about, things like that. Then we move down and we have our location, then the date, and generally you will see the same paragraph here up here. Sometimes it can be different, but I'd say majority of the time you will see that this same paragraph, see this Online Media Technologies are absolutely free, exact same thing, but the only difference is this is usually what people read. Journalists, what they do is they read this, or newspaper editors, and then they read this. If it's interesting, then they'll read it further on. So you basically just copy and paste that down here. So if we move down in the press release here, we can see that it says having about 30 video or audio software in its product line, Online Media Technologies releases AVS free. So what you're doing here is you're introducing whatever your product is, or service, ebook, book, things like that, new technologies. Now, you might be asking yourself right now, how do you relate this to a review blog? Well, of course, you're not releasing a product per se, but if you get the permission of the product owner to write a press release, or sometimes you might not have to, but sometimes it's a good thing to do that, because if you do something wrong, then you might be liable of something. So once you get the permission of the product owner to actually write the press release, what you can do is do a press release on, let's say, the story, or let's say that you can introduce the product and do, instead of doing a review of the product, basically press releases are unbiased. So you have to think of it like, just say about the product, what the product is, what it provides, what are factual things. Or you could even write about your blog. Let's say that you're coming out with a new blog that has a unique twist to it and it has a bunch of reviews on it as part of the twist, and you can talk about the blog. So you can make it so that you have niche blogs. So let's say dog training, for example. You could say a new dog training blog is coming out, or new dog training website that reveals to dog owners around the world on how to do this, and that. And then you talk about, even if you have a dog training company or dog training experience, and then you direct traffic to your site. And when the people get to your site, they're looking for dog training stuff anyways. So most likely they're having issues with their dog, and you would have 4 or 5 or 10 reviews of different products. So that's another way you could write a press release and get the traffic to your site. With that said, let's look at another press release. This one's an eye catcher. It says DVD video soft updates free videos to Flash converter. And one thing you may want to know is that your press release will usually get submitted and it'll be reviewed by an actual person. In fact, if you submit to PR Web, you're going to actually have to talk to somebody on the phone before it gets approved. But that's how they make sure that good press releases are submitted to the site. Because Google knows that these standards are high and Yahoo News knows these standards are high, usually they look to PR Web, and anything gets indexed here or submitted here gets indexed to Google and Yahoo News very quickly. So as we can see here, this is the title here. And it talks about what the company is right here, or what it provides. And it also gives you links back to sites. The good thing about having links in your press release is that the press release sites will be linking to here, and the news sites as well, so you get tons and tons of backlinks to these sites. And not only that, your search engine ranking will definitely increase higher. That's why when you write press releases, you need to work on keywords and what links you want them to link to. So with that said, let me show you how powerful these sites can be. If I copy and paste this into my clipboard, as you noticed earlier that this was on the front page, but it was at the top, right? If I go to Yahoo News and search in the business section for that exact same title, you'll notice here that Yahoo News within 46 minutes has already put this press release here. As you can see, it's the same exact thing. So that's the amazing thing. You get into Yahoo News, which is pretty amazing right there. And not only that, when you're in Yahoo News, think of how many thousands among thousands of sites out there are indexing you into their site. So now you know the power of press releases, and now you know a general idea on how press releases are written, very similar to each other, just different content written in third parties. And here are 10 essential tips to ensure press releases make the news. So there's a few things that you want to work on. So if you go to the site publicityinsider.com on how to actually write a press release, that's a great site to use. Another great site that I like to use is called wikihow.com. Let's talk about submitting press releases. As you saw earlier, we went to prweb.com. You can use prweb.com. They offer different things like $80, $169 or more. Depends on what you get. And from what I've gotten, the results are phenomenal. However, with that said, I'm not going to just stick with paid press release sites. Let me show you several of the free submission sites that deal with press releases. One of them is called 188pressrelease.com. So if you go there, Google, you can see what it is. Click on here. It's a green page, like a green icon. It doesn't look like much, but believe it or not, it provides a lot of opportunity to get featured on many of these sites. So here's the trick. You submit your press release onto several sites instead of trying to submit them on hundreds and hundreds of press release sites. You find the ones that are big and you submit it to them. Eventually, let's say you submit it to this site, right? Eventually, hundreds of sites link to this site, and they grab press releases off of this site, categorize them, and put them into their own system. So with that said, your strategy is to find the big ones. So if you submit it to 188pressrelease.com, you can do that. As you can see, it's so easy. Just click submit press release and you create an account. The only thing you do is copy your headline, usually your body, and the media contact information. Another site that I would recommend is inewswire.com. If you go to the site, this is another one of the top sites. And to submit your own press release, all you do is click on that link. Another site is called pr.com. If you go to pr.com, and we go to the press release section here, you can submit your press release via pr.com for free. So you just click on this, and you have different options. There are many sites that actually are out there, and they provide you access to top press release submission sites. That's actually how I began. I did a search, and I happened to find I did this site right here, and I used several other sites as well. But there are sites out there you can actually follow press release experts too. So here's a good site. If you go to that 50 press release submission sites, you'll notice that it also provides whether it's free, yes or no, what is the page rank of it, which is important. This is a great way to get high page rank backlinks from sites for free. I would highly recommend that you go to sites like prweb.com to find out how to write them and how to submit them using these step-by-step instructions.